Let's give this a go.
Sweet.
Hello everybody. Hi. Welcome to the special edition of Who You Are, where we sit down with local musicians and get to know who they are. We're on location. This is cool. And I'm here with Lachlan Swampdog Simmons, bass player extraordinaire. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thanks. Had a pretty good old Thursday and best Thursdays so far this year. Got a chill schedule and here we are enjoying the yummy beer times.
Yeah. I did need this.
Yeah. Oh man, makes the words lubricated. I like it.
No, for sure. So, yeah, the drill with this podcast is we just want to know who you are and how you got your start. So, I think I already asked this a while ago, but if you don't mind repeating.
That's right.
How did you get your start in the music scene?
I think the scene as I know it, I guess the uni, I suppose. So a lot of the people I met in uni, I still see today and have quite a lot to do with. Like Tristan, the trumpet player tonight.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so he'll be playing with us, and I've known him since like first year of the con. And you know, even when I met Nathan, it was through people at uni. Drummer. Rowan as well, of course.
Yeah.
Went to uni with him.
Yeah.
And then, it's pretty much from that group of people that met Roman and
Just connections spread out from that central
yeah. And then I guess knowing a lot of the JMI crowd as well.
Yeah.
It's cool having two music schools or two jazz schools, well, more than two music schools, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of different crews that eventually bump into each other at common little places, and
Yeah. We're lucky in Brisbane with having that kind of music. There's a lot of people doing music, and it's good that we have that kind of schools going, and that you can connect. There's a point in that. Give me a sec.
Yeah, you're right.
But you know what I mean? How there's all these different schools, and then everyone just ends up combining together. And
Absolutely. Yeah. And even then, like, the other kind of specialised music ones like SAE, then you end up meeting all these sweet sound engineers and
very different. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
We're on location. That's quite big.
Nobody else knows about it except for us. We just hijacked it. So,
Fuck it if you can.
exactly. Yeah, man. Sorry, what was that last thing?
Oh, I've forgotten. But it's basically just, so you got your start by going to uni and just getting to know the people in the scene.
Fully. And I guess, like, I don't know, when people talk about networking, it seems like a very formal thing, but I guess for me it was just partying and, I guess when I look back on my networking, it's a very ridiculous thing and more just being real silly with a whole bunch of really fun people and...
But I think that builds the best networks, having...
Absolutely.
Like, you will find stuff funny, you just enjoy it and laugh together, as opposed to you've gone to a lunch and you've met someone and asked what they do and say, let's do something.
Yeah.
Instead, you've gotten to know them first and
Absolutely, yeah.
gotten high with them. And
It's definitely like, I feel like it's a big, I don't know, you kind of pick your family in this sort of crew. Like, I definitely feel like a lot of the people I make music with these days, definitely are like family, and the crew definitely feels like that, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and
no, so you're in a lot of bands too, with all that networking as a result. What is it like being in so many bands? Because I feel I go to a lot of jazz gigs in Brisbane, and then you walk on stage and I'm like, oh, there he is. What's that like?
Yeah, it's good. I definitely find it can be tiring, but also awesome. Like, because at the end of the day, it's, I definitely got to say I am a bit of a yes man, and all my friends are really lovely and really good at music and other stuff, and then they're just like, you want to do this thing? I'm like, yeah, of course. And then a lot of the time that ends up, well, in the past it has ended up with absolutely no personal time, and that, I don't know, I feel like you got to get to a point to realise how much is too much, and I think naturally, big commitments have dropped off just as the nature of bands, and my stuff does. So I think at the moment, I definitely don't regret any musical things I've been a part of.
Yep.
But yeah, just the fact that some big commitments have dropped, and now I feel like I can chill a lot more. And I don't know, I'm pretty terrible at replying to messages, so it's probably a whole less stressful for me to organize all that stuff than it is for the other people. But,
Yeah.
but we get there at the end of the day, and
Yeah.
yeah.
That's me. I am just gonna say at this point, I forgot to hit record on the Zoom, so apologies for the change in audio. But screw it, I'm not repeating any of that.
Sweet. All good.
But no, yeah, it's good that you're in all that stuff, and it's. But yeah, you mentioned you're a yes man, and it's hard to say no. At what point did you kind of realize that you're getting a bit burnt out, and how do you deal with that kind of thing?
Definitely pre-COVID stuff. I think it's funny. Pre-COVID, I was getting very, very busy, and then, when all of that dropped off, I was just like, oh wow, having time. This is what it feels like to not be doing that, and I think that was weirdly enough for me, and I think a lot of people in Brisbane were very lucky to be here.
Definitely.
Not in the rut that so many other places are in, but I got to experience life without that, without being extremely busy. I kind of realized that it doesn't make heaps of sense to give away all of your time and still be left broke.
Yeah.
Which is a really funny concept, and I think that's when it really starts to be tough.
Yeah.
It was just like, I have no money, but it's not because I'm not working, you know?
Force you to take that step back and...
Exactly, and it's not necessarily that I have taken too much of a step back, but I think I'm a little bit more realistic these days with the people I make music with, like I'll, have to be like, I can't do that weekly commitment kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I'll still put in as much time as I can and try not to double book myself, and
Yeah. No, it's awesome to come to that realization, and it's very hard as a musician because you just want to play and play.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Well, considering we're talking about playing, you play the bass. What kind of drew you towards the bass? How'd you end up with the bass?
Well, it's funny, when I started music, I guess, when I was 10 years old, playing the tuba, Year 5 band program. And I think I remember just watching a high school big band at 10 years old, being like, whoa, that's a really cool sound, it's fat and I like it.
Yeah.
And then I think, one of the teachers kind of heard that I liked it, and he was a tuba player, is a tuba player. And his name's Tim Wheel, by the way, if anybody knows him. So he then decided, I'll teach you bass for 2 years for free.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. And then I think there became a point where he was like, all right, you got to get lessons with the teacher at school, which was Sam Vincent. He's a bass player for Trichotomy and Dog Gypsy Orchestra and a lot of other stuff. So I think, it all came from hearing that big band and then somebody, at least planting the idea or planting the seed in my head.
Yeah.
And then, then I realized how cool it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you just... Because, I personally think you're a really good bass player, and
Thanks.
you've kind of worked hard to get there. What is it like, I guess... When do you realize that you're at that point, and I guess more, when do you realize where you're at your point where you think you're good enough to teach people, I guess? Because you teach.
Yeah.
Too. What's that like, and how do you kind of realize you can teach people?
I think for a long time I don't know, to me teaching is definitely the kind of thing that earlier on I approached it as kind of learning together. So where in so many positions I might be playing, in a band with somebody, and different aspects of our music are at different levels. So we are learning together. I might teach them about that and they'll teach me about something else. I think after a while, trying to figure out where I'm going with this.
That's all good.
I don't know. I always always felt like teaching to me is a really loose kind of thing where for some students, the easiest students, I'm just kind of hanging out with, just showing music and, you know, they're at a different stage in their life and I can, at the very least, just listen to what they have to play and maybe make some suggestions. So I don't think teaching has to be this hectic thing where I'm just like, oh yes, I'm ready to be a teacher now. And I still have learned from the day I started till now, and I will continue to learn, hopefully. But I don't know, I feel like played enough wonderful gigs and made wonderful music with people that it gives me the confidence that I could share something with somebody who is learning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it took me a long time to realize with teaching, you can't really have too many expectations for the student because if they're going to learn, they're going to learn in their own time. And yeah.
More about being a guide as opposed
I guess so.
to...
Making their time more efficient.
Yeah.
Yeah, because even then, like, I don't know, some of the lessons I've had with teachers, like, chat so much shit. And
Yeah.
it was all great, you know, it's all sort of part of it. And even, especially for the younger ones, it's like, you know, one of the few times a week they can kind of hang out with an older person and that older person not tell them to put their hat on or pull their socks up and maybe show them like Rage Against the Machine or something, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that kind of feeds back into building that iconic scene that you've been able to get into and helping younger people to kind of join that scene too.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I love showing, like, all my students as much local music as possible, and this is great. Like, I feel like Australia has this, not just Brisbane, but Australia has a very Australian sound, and I can't yet put my finger on exactly what that is, but you know what it is when you hear it.
Yeah. I have thoughts on the Australian sound, but it's
many different things.
So many different things. I feel like it's an energy of, to be a bit blunt, an energy of she'll be right and we're having fun.
In a way, yeah. But then I think sometimes it can almost be like a storytelling sort of vibe, and no, like I really love a band that some friends of mine play in. They're called Morton.
Oh,
you heard of them?
I think so, yeah.
Really beautiful, and it's kind of hard for me to put a define their sound or anything, but it's one of those things that it is undeniably Australian. Like they've got this tune, what's it called, Circles, and I think it's about floods that happened down in Mullumbimby a few years ago.
Yeah.
So there's heaps of footage in the film clip of just like, you know, skate park in Mullumbimby and like some racing tracks and kind of true, somewhat gritty Australian culture that's also beautiful at the same time. And the problem with listening to that band is that I can never decide what to listen to afterwards because it's kind of so unique.
Yeah. That's awesome. Australia definitely has a very unique scene. And yeah, I guess with those kind of bands, Morton, you said.
Yeah.
Check them out.
Absolutely.
Definitely. So those kinds of bands are, I guess, saying it how it is, being real.
Very much. Yeah.
I think that is a lot of Australian music too. It's just
I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Even, I mean, that transcends a lot of arts, I think. Even when you look at something like the Big Les Show.
Yeah.
You know, I love the Big Les Show, but that has something so real about it, while also just being a ridiculous thing. So,
how do you channel that kind of real feel into your music? That's a big question.
I guess so. Yeah, wow. Yeah, I guess that's a interesting thing. I think if the music or the idea feels good and right for me, I guess I don't have to think too hard about it because being a musician, I feel like, or an artistic person, you can be very opinionated.
Yeah.
I think, and usually when you stew on your own opinions for long enough, you end up squeezing something out that is hopefully true to yourself. And yeah, and I think after a while it kind of rings bells, and you can hear it in your own music when you're not being true to yourself. And I've always kind of felt like, especially in jazz school, like hearing somebody play in a workshop or something and they're improvising, and then you talk to them afterwards and they almost, you can hear the same mannerisms in their speech and who they are as a person.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've always found that to be quite an honest thing, and the way you approach your life can definitely be how you approach your music. If you're treating yourself really terribly, then it can be hard to make good music. And yeah.
It's a kind of a self-feeding cycle, I guess.
Absolutely.
Treat
Yeah.
yourself right, and then the music you make will be right for you. It doesn't have to be right for everyone else, because screw that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I guess I think more at the moment, I'm definitely feeling the better I take care of myself and the better I pay attention to my own needs, the better music I make, and the more right I feel to make music. Because I think that's most of it, like being in the right headspace. There definitely is something to be said for like just being able to switch on when needed.
Yep.
I definitely have found I've been able to do that in certain situations, but nothing beats feeling good.
Yeah.
Which is why at the same time you can go to a festival and then, get a bit loose and still play the music, but the music feels so good that I still have faith that I can do it.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. Well, I kind of don't want to say anything else after that. I think that's a pretty chill place to kind of leave it.
Fair enough. I
Yeah.
feel like I've done a good amount of blah.
Yeah. Good blah.
Wonderful. Yeah, good blah all around.
But
I love it.
thanks for joining us, man.
Oh, well, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for coming to the gig.
Yeah. We're at a Life on Earth gig, by the way.
Yeah.
Come see them. They're cool.
It's a good band.
Yeah. Alright. Bye, guys.
See ya. Sweet.
Nice.